I'm Novak, and this here is the 2019 Genesis Motors G70 Performance Luxury Sedan. If you're aware, Genesis is the premium brand of Hyundai, and it launched 2 years ago with the initial G90, which actually used to be the Hyundai Genesis, the G80 larger sedans, and now they've come on market with a small to mid-size performance style sedan, much in the line as you would see for a BMW 3 Series or an Infiniti Q50, a Mercedes C-Class. This is who they're going up against. It's a pretty ambitious task for Hyundai and Genesis now to take on those big boys, but with cars like this, they may have a fighting chance. Let's take a look and see what this one's all about. It's kind of hard to talk about reviewing any particular Genesis model without actually referring to the whole Genesis business model, and that's how they've gone about in creating a different way of purchasing cars. When you're trying to launch a new luxury brand, there's got to be a lot of risks, and so to mitigate that, they've created an overall infrastructure and buying process that involves very few dealerships. They are starting to build retail outlets, but mostly, especially in the beginning, it was all pretty much an online experience. You could basically see the models online. You could take a look at the colors and the performance and the options that you like. If you want to take it for a test drive, you contact them online. They come to your door. They pick you up. When you're ready to buy, that whole process is done. It's a no haggle price anyway. So you figure out all the items that you want. You make the commitment to buy. They deliver it right to your door. And then even after that, there's a long-term sort of experience. The 5-year process you get is not just with your typical powertrain extensive warranty, but you get things like this complimentary scheduled maintenance. You would get, if they take your car away to deal with maintenance, they'll provide you with a replacement. I'm someone who's always enjoyed, I still have a preference for GPS nav systems, the built-in versus Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Even though this G70 offers that, well, that's something that always requires an update. And hey, part of that whole package is once a year, they'll automatically complimentary update the SD card to give you the latest maps. Free roadside service assistance as well in this whole thing. So it's a whole different process. They call it sort of a concierge service. And you combine that with some pretty impressive vehicles, and now you have a more compelling argument to go against some of the more established luxury brands. When you look at the interior of the G70, it definitely has a premium feel to it. I mean, you can tell by the materials and the touch points. There's a lot of nice stitching and embroidery, but I wouldn't say it's opulent. In fact, probably the better descriptive for me is it's a very pragmatic kind of luxury. As you often see in vehicles from the Hyundai line, there's a lot of ergonomics to it, and I think it moves up into Genesis as well. There's certainly redundancies, but you've got a lot of touch points, and tactile interface is really something I'm very much a fan of because it's easier for control. It's all on the new screen as well. In fact, there's new visual center stack screen. It's actually pretty good. The touch points, it's very responsive, better than it has been in the past. Your information readouts, they're clear and they're concise, easy to manage your controls. So, part of enjoying the drive is feeling comfortable and really sort of one with all of the controls that you have in front of you. And I think in this G70, it does just that. Under the hood of the 2019 Genesis G70, you have two engine options. I think most of the volume is probably going to come in the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It puts out to 252 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. It is typically matted to an 8-speed automatic transmission. However, with this 2-liter, you can get a manual. There is a manual transmission available, and it comes with rear-wheel drive. So if you're one of the save the manuals folks, you can find it in the 2-liter. What I'm driving here is the 3.3-liter turbocharged V6. This one is powered, it's 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. It's a lot of fun. It's going to get you 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 4.7 seconds. Now, these two engines are actually the same two powertrains that you'll find in the Kia Stinger, and I know there's a lot of comparisons. It's a natural tendency for the Stinger and the G70 to be compared, but they really do perform differently. The Stinger is more of a real grand touring type of vehicle. It has a more laid-back feel, whereas this, it's a shorter wheelbase, it's lighter, it's a really more of a performance type of vehicle. It's a lot of fun, just more nimble. I think it's funny too that when you put it into sport mode, just to give you a little more example of how it's built for sport, just as I do here now, the bolsters on the side actually tighten up a little bit. It's almost like it's securing you into your seat a little bit tighter, as if to say, hey, you're ready for some fun. Now in Canada, the G70, save for the manual transmission, is going to be all-wheel drive. But when you do want to get a little bit of that more performance type of situation and you put it into sport mode, it does become a rear wheel bias. In fact, you'll get about 90% of the push from the rear. So it's giving you a little bit more of that performance aspect to it, but you're just getting all-wheel drive here, at least north of the border. This Genesis G70 is a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to get behind this. I like the look of it. I like the way it handles. I like its performance aspects. Overall, I like the value proposition, and that's an important thing because I know the folks in the product development side at Genesis are aware of the fact that this totally has everything built. Its DNA is strong enough to basically match up against any of the direct competitors it has right now, a BMW or a Mercedes, an Audi, an Infiniti, a Lexus. Easy. It has the bones to be able to do that. Where they're going to run into obviously some problems are with any brand perception. This Genesis, it's new. Oh, wait a minute, it's part of the Hyundai lineup. Trust me, you've got to look past that. And while I know that Hyundai hopes to be able to perhaps take away from some of the market share of the other folks, I think with this G70, what it really does is offers a really good entry point for people to discover a brand new premium line with the value proposition and pricing that it is, the no haggle aspect of it, and the huge amount of service-oriented components to it with the almost the non-dealership experience, which is something I think younger people are moving more towards nowadays. This has got a great package overall, and I think it's going to be a wonderful entry point and something that Genesis Motors are going to see a lot of success from overall. Again, I really enjoyed my time in this vehicle, and I really strongly suggest if you're looking for a vehicle like this, don't make a purchase without getting into this first. That's it for this review. I'm Eric Novak. Thanks so much for watching. There's plenty of ways for you to keep connected with me, so check out some of my social media links, suggested videos, and I'd really love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel.